So one of the things that I really enjoy about this deck is the use of the esoteric attributions on the cards. And it's becoming more and more common. It used to be more difficult to find an illustrated tarot deck that had the attributions on them. And for the most part, people that read esoteric tarot have this stuff memorized. But when you're first starting and you're trying to learn it, it's really useful to have it on the card so that you can begin to familiarize yourself with those attributions. And you can see in the card that he has that down in a kind of a parchment scroll looking banner at the bottom of the card, and he has the Golden Dawn card title, which is not the same as a toad. Some people think that they're the same thing, and they're definitely not. So these are the Golden Dawn card titles in the banner for each one. So the Two of Coins is Harmonious Change, and then he has over on the left, he'll have various glyphs, and I'll show you the different ones because I think this is a little bit this is one of the things I like the best about the deck. It's also one of my problems with the deck because I don't know that the glyphs are arranged in the way that makes the best sense every time. You kind of have to, or maybe I should rephrase that as you really have to familiarize yourself with how the glyphs are arranged so that you can understand what they mean. And so this suit card, the Two of Coins, we've got the Earth glyph for coins because it's the element Earth. And then we have Jupiter, which is the planet that rules this decan in Capricorn. And so Jupiter and Capricorn are the two glyphs that are attributed with this card. And they're the bottom two. In the majors, the relevant glyphs are all on the left. And so it bothers me that when he goes to the minors, he switches it so that there's one glyph, the planetary glyph, that's on the left, and the sign glyph is on the right. I think it makes it a little more confusing, and took me a second to figure out what was going on. And then once I realized what he was doing, I was like, I hope my students can follow along with this. Then above the sign, he has the planetary glyph that matches the Sephira on the Tree of Life. Now, of course, he doesn't use the standard hermetic or glyphs. He doesn't use the standard attributions. And so he's got Uranus at Hokmah. And once you try to add those, there's 10 Sephirot. Malkut is Earth. And so you can't get all the planets onto the 10 Sephirot. Malkut is Earth, and then it goes in the Chaldean order. It goes to the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and then after you get to Jupiter, you go up to Bina, which is Saturn, and then you go over to Hokmah, which is 2, and he's got Uranus there. It's fine for Hokmah, but Hokmah is actually the fixed stars or the zodiac. And then you go up to Keter, and that's a prima mobile, because this scheme was developed long before the outer planets were recognized. And so he's using some modern attributions. A lot of people try to do that. They don't fit very well. What he ends up doing is putting Uranus at Hokmah, and then putting Neptune up at Keter, and then putting Pluto down at Malkut. And I haven't liked any of the schemes that I've seen that show the outer planets on the tree. They just don't make sense to me. But that's what he's doing. And so you go to our 9 of Swords here. He's got Despair and Cruelty, which is the correct Golden Dawn title. It is the air glyph for the swords. He's got Mars in Gemini. So the bottom glyph on the left is Mars, and the bottom glyph on the right is Gemini to show us Mars and Gemini. And then he has the moon there for Yesod, which is the 9th Sephira, which is indeed the moon. So this works up until you get to the aces, the twos, and the tens don't fit the way I learned it. And so it's just a different system. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. I just always want everybody to be aware when you're working with something that's like universally standard and when you're working with something that different people have developed in different ways. Here's an example of a major. He's got the star. And what's very nice over here is that he has the Sephira marked that the path connects. So this connects Yesod to Netzach, number 9 to number 7. Now he does it in the lightning flash path order, so he says 7 to 9 here. And then it has these arrows. I don't know what the arrows are for. And so then there is the Hebrew letter, which is Tzadi. And then what's really cool is that he draws a little image of the meaning for that so that you can remember it. And so there's a little fish hook underneath the Tzadi letter. And so, of course, Tzadi means fish hook. And then, of course, there's Aquarius, which is the sign that the star is associated with. Then over on the right, what he has is the planet Saturn, which is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, and the planet Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius. And so these glyphs are not actually related to the card, other than that they are related to Aquarius. They might help you remember what other cards you can pull out if you wanted to work with this. If you wanted to work with not just the sign for the card, but if you wanted to work with its rulers, you could pull out the World for Saturn and the Fool for Uranus, and you could look at those in conjunction with this. One of the things with this deck is that he uses a little bit of Thoth symbolism. It's primarily pretty strictly Rider-Waite-Smith, but there is some Thoth symbolism that you can pick up in the majors. Also, the court cards are as my friend says, they're very thothy. So if you like thothy courts, these are the ones for you. Here is our King of Wands, and so I've seen this quite a bit actually in Golden Dawn decks, so it's not unheard of, but he's taken the Thoth or the Golden Dawn Prince and called it the King. He's got his King of Wands. It is in the Chariot, as the Prince of Wands is in the either the Thoth or the Golden Dawn decks. It's the Chariot's drawn by a lion. We've got the fire glyph here, and it's the last decan of Cancer and the first 2 decans of Leo, which is correct for the fixed sign, the courtier that's in a chariot. That is correct for that. And then over on the right hand side, and this is, this one's up for grabs. The cards were arranged so that the king was at the top, but they assign it to air. And so because it's assigned to air, that actually suggests that he's the lower rank, because he's the Vav of Yud He Vav He. And the Tetragrammaton fits on the tree with Yud at Hokmah, He at Bina, Vav is at Tiferet, and the final He is down at Malkut. So by putting an air here, you're saying that he is that this card is coming in at the Tiferet position, which is the lower rank. And so here's our queen, and she's a Queen of Swords, so she's got the air sign on the left to indicate the suit, and on the right hand side there's the glyph for water, because queens are water of their element. So she is water of air. And of course she gets down here with the last decan of Virgo and the first 2 decans of Libra, so it says Virgo, Libra, Libra. And what else do we have? The Princess of Pentacles is Earth of Earth, or really arranged the way he's got arranged. The first Earth is for the suit, so Earth, the Earth element of the Earth suit. And here is another king. Let me find you a prints so that we can look at that. Just like, look at the imagery here. This card is so gorgeous. The gown on this temperance card splashes up. It's just beautiful. It's got the Sagittarius glyph kind of put into the gown. The flow of the water is almost magical. And the irises over on the side, just a tiny little touch of yellow. They're almost impressionistic. It's so beautiful. And again, we've got our samic. It means tent peg. I think that's a tent maybe there. And then the Sagittarian glyph, which in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is over here. I did want to take a little bit of time and explain some of this, because I think if you're unfamiliar with working with the esoteric correspondences, I think this is a really good deck to start with. If you're already familiar with Rider-Waite-Smith and you've kind of got that sense of the meanings of the cards that way, already familiar with the imagery, this allows you to kind of settle into that, but at the same time start to add those other layers on. Here's a couple of knights. So here we have the Knight of Cups, and you can see, as we have in the Thoth deck, the crab is coming out of the cup for the Knight of Cups, which, why is there a crab? I have no idea, because it's Pisces and it is correctly marked as Aquarius, Pisces, Pisces, or the last decan of Aquarius and the first 2 decans of Pisces. It is water glyph is on the left to indicate the suit, cups for water for cups, and on the right it's got the fire glyph. The fire is the Yud in Yud He Vav He, and so the Yud, again, that goes over to Hokmah, but it's the first letter, and so these knights should actually be in the higher position in terms of the hierarchy. If you want to rank your court cards, the knights in this deck should be at the top, then the queens, then the kings, and then your pages or princesses. So, here's our Knight of Wands. Again, we've got the fire suit and the fire element, fire of fire. It is Scorpio, Sagittarius, Sagittarius, and so on and so forth. So I just love the artwork. I think it's gorgeous. Hal gave it a 9 out of 10. He said he's pretty hard to please. I'm practically impossible to please, so, but, and I'm always looking for something that stretches, and I don't think this deck stretches in terms of symbolism, although I'm very happy to see such accurate symbolism in the deck. And it's got quite a bit, not just, the strict Rider-Waite-Smith, but of Thoth coming in the majors and in the courts, and there's even a little bit of reference to some Golden Dawn symbolism every once in a while. So I think it's a really nice crossover deck to move from being a Rider-Waite-Smith strictly illustrated deck into more of the esoteric form of reading. So I hope you like it, and I'm definitely going to be recommending this to all of my students that are learning esoteric tarot.